Hi guys! Today's video is going to be a little bit different than our past videos because they've been mostly focused on content, and today's video is going to be focused on preparing you for a lab in class. And so I'm going to start off this video by asking you, what is in this? This is called a syringe, and it is clear, and hopefully you can see it okay. But my question is, what is inside? I can press it down, I can pull it out. Is there anything inside of there? If your answer is no, then I'm going to ask for you to think again. Because when we are in our chemistry unit, that we need to think and flip, boom, the switch to think about everything at the smallest level possible. We need to think about things at the particle level. And so I would like for you to take a look at this syringe, okay, that the stopper can move up and down, which you may or may not see anything right now unless you have flipped the switch in your brain. And I want you to transfer this to this. This is an image of the same syringe, except it is taking a look at it at the particle level. And you can see that there are little things bouncing around in there. Those little things are representing gas particles. Okay, and gas is an example of air. Gas is a form of matter. And the things that we need to remember and keep in mind is that gases have mass and they do occupy space. They're all little individual particles that aren't connected to each other. They actually look like they're trying to get away from each other or trying to get out of the syringe. The gas particles typically are far apart and they are in constant motion. You can see that they pretty much do not stop. Take a look at this. You can even see and imagine, as we're flipping the switch even more, that there are particles all over the place, not just inside of the syringe, but all over us, because gas particles, or air particles, are all around us at all times. I want you to also note that there's nothing between the particles of gas except for space, which is why we can force them to be closer together, like inside of the syringe. And that process is called compression. And when we release that compression, the gas particles spread out and take up the space that they are given. So now that we have taken a look and we have flipped that switch in our brain, I want you to get prepared for the lab that we are going to do. And to do that, you might want to practice the pause police right now to check out this list of materials. This list of materials is what you are going to be able to use for the lab. So let me review that with you. You will get to have a long, flexible tube. Okay, that is clear. You will get to have a stopper that has a hole in it. You will get to have a styrofoam cup. You will have 2 plastic cups. You will get to have a cup of bubble solution. And you will get to have a balloon, which I do not have at this moment. But you'll get to have a balloon for this lab as well. Now, the one thing you are responsible for is you need to bring in a plastic bottle with a cap. Okay? It can be any size plastic bottle. Hopefully we can dry out the insides of your plastic bottles and the best that we can so that there's not really anything inside of them. Well, except for gas particles, right? The reason that you need all of these things is because I am giving you an exploration challenge. And for your notes today, I want you to try to brainstorm some ideas for this challenge. So here's what the challenge is. Okay? The idea of particles might be something that is familiar to you. You might have studied gas particles in the past. And so I want you to imagine that we were to walk across the yard and we were to go and visit with Kelowna Elementary students, let's say a class of 4th graders. Okay? And I want you to imagine that we're able to take some supplies over there, these supplies from this lab, and you're going to show them what happens to gas particles when they are heated and when they are cooled. So you're going to need to try to find a good way to show what happens to a volume of air or gas particles when it is heated and cooled. Does that make sense? So another layer on top of that, one thing I forgot to add to our materials list is hot and cold water. I will have all of the things here available for you in class. The one thing that you are responsible for is bringing in a plastic bottle with a cap on it. Okay. Now, for this lab, it's pretty open, and there's just a few rules that I have in place for you. I want to make sure that I get them right, so I'm going to check out my sheet here. Rule number 1. You can place nothing inside of the bottle. No bubble solution, no water, no other substance. Rule number 2. You need to maintain the integrity of the bottle. What does that mean? That means you cannot crush it or fold it or modify the bottle in any way, shape, or form. We want the plastic bottle to essentially stay like a plastic bottle. And lastly, you need to make sure that you share all of the items with the people in your group, and everyone in the group should be able to try to demonstrate a way to show what happens to air when it's heated or cooled before one person gets multiple tries. Now, one thing that we can do to kind of help out with this is that if you arrange with the other people in your group about how many plastic bottles you're planning to bring in, then if everybody has their own, it should be really easy to share materials. But if only one person brings it in, then it might get to be a little bit more difficult. So please make sure to remember to bring in your plastic bottle. All right, now for this lab, you're going to have 1 day of exploration to see what you can do, to see what you can learn. The second day of the lab, you're going to actually be asked to record your findings. So if you found a really cool way, perhaps using the rubber stopper and the bottle and the flexible tubing, rubber stopper, then maybe the next day you would actually be using an iPad to record your findings. And we're going to use those recordings in class to evaluate how much you understand and if all of these things are just a review or if we need to review some of these ideas. And so for that, I'm going to have 2 2-minute tutorials about using iMovie on the iPad and about using Explain Everything on the iPad that I would like for you to take a look at. If you have any questions after you watch those 2 2-minute tutorial videos, please let me know. Otherwise, the challenge is in front of you, your materials list, you understand, and the one thing that you need to bring to class is in front of you. So, I can't wait to see what you put together, and I'll see you later.